Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Michael, and as always, we're going to be getting into some more stories. If you enjoy, make sure to leave a like, and if you're new, I'd appreciate if you subscribed. Without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a user named NoReflection71 in the AITA subreddit. The post is titled, "I showed my coworker what being honest can be like." I don't know how else to put it because this is a weird situation. Also, this is a throwaway because I don't want this on my main. I'm a 26-year-old female who started working at my job 6 months ago, and I immediately realized it was a horrible work environment. The men act like they're still in a frat house or something. There is one in particular who is like their evil leader. Let's call him Jake. He's around 30. He says he's just honest and talks about free speech, or how he just says the first thing that comes to his mind. But in my opinion, he is just disrespectful and a bad person. I started looking for a new job 3 months ago, but haven't had any luck finding something with the same pay, so I'm still here. As I said, he is cruel and mean to everyone, especially the women and a couple of guys who aren't alpha enough. For more context, I have ADHD and other issues, and I struggled a lot as a teen and in my early 20s to be kind to people and to myself. I still have the impulse to say all the mean things that come to mind, but I worked hard in therapy to stop those thoughts and redirect myself elsewhere. Anyway, I decided to give him the same treatment he gives everyone after he told a pregnant coworker that he couldn't understand how her husband hadn't cheated on her yet because she's a cow now. I started about 3 weeks ago. He came to talk to me and told me I'm basically a dude because I don't have enough chest. And I told him, "Jake, are you balding or has your forehead always been that inhumanly big?" And so on. But yesterday we were talking with a few coworkers about everything I cooked for New Year's. I tend to go overboard, and they were impressed with my dinner. He came over and started saying nonsense and throwing insults, so I said, "See, this is exactly why your daddy left you." And then I continued with my conversation. Well, he talked to HR, and I have an appointment to speak with them on Thursday. However, my coworkers said they would support me, and they've decided to file complaints against Jake now and document his behavior. Apparently, they already did, but HR just gave him a slap on the wrist, and they're angry now because HR wants to talk to me so quickly. I am not particularly scared about the appointment, but I do wonder if I went a little too far. Yes, he started it, but I don't tend to lower myself to a bully's level. I just didn't see any other way when HR never did anything about the complaints. I don't really want to apologize to him, but I'll do it if I cross the line because, as I said, I work hard in therapy to be as decent a person as I can be, and maybe this wasn't the best way to handle all of this. Update. Well, I had my meeting with HR and it went relatively okay. First of all, I went into detective mode and found out that one of the HR guys is related to Jake. Their moms are cousins, so they don't have the same last name or anything, but I found Jake's mom's Facebook and then a picture with Jake's mom, Dylan, and his mom. I screenshotted it and I talked to my supervisor who decided to come with me to the meeting. In the meeting, there was Dylan, his boss, Jake, my supervisor, and me. Dylan tried to lead the meeting and suggested immediate termination, but my supervisor told him we would have our meeting with the other HR representative because I deserved a neutral meeting. He also showed both of them the picture. Dylan's face dropped, but he didn't say anything else after that and just left the room. The other HR representative talked to me and my supervisor, and I told him my story and gave him about 12 notes signed by my coworkers where they described their experiences with Jake. The HR representative called a couple of them, including my pregnant coworker, into his office after dismissing me. On Friday, I had another meeting, but it was only me and the HR representative. I talked about how uncomfortable I felt and how everyone had tried to do the right thing by reporting him, but nothing was ever done. He said he understood and that unfortunately, Dylan had not been impartial in his actions and had been covering for Jake, but that the situation had been dealt with. He told me I wasn't going to get written up or anything and that I was in the clear, but he asked me not to repeat this behavior. I told him I wasn't planning on doing it again, and he said to come to him if anything else happens. Yesterday, I got to the office and everything was normal, but at noon, my supervisor came to find me and my pregnant coworker. He told us that Jake and Dylan were let go and that Dylan might have some legal troubles with the company, but he couldn't discuss that. He also asked us not to say anything about it to anyone else and said that people would realize what happened with Jake anyway. I also have a second interview with another company next week. I'm hopeful but also nervous because I've had interviews before that didn't lead anywhere in the end. And that's all. It was more dramatic than I expected. I thought they'd fire me and keep Jake or something, but finding out that Dylan was covering for Jake because of their family relationship helped me tremendously. Thank you for the advice. It was really useful. I always find these types of stories satisfying. Doing nothing and taking the high road is cool and all, but in reality, I feel it doesn't exactly get the desired results. But the main issue here is with the HR rep quietly burying complaints to protect a family member. That's straight up corruption. It's good to hear though that the situation seemed to unfold in a favorable way for OP. I commend OP for being patient and building a paper trail before ultimately walking into the meeting to ensure Jake and Dylan got what they deserved. User The Door Doesn't Work said, an eternal wisdom in life is to only ever commit one crime. Piling a NAPO workplace favoritism and it can dish it out, but can't take it is just asking for trouble. User Backgrounding Cat said, those two were definitely doing other stuff too. Those people never know when to stop. User Lady Grace Smith said, a friend had a similar issue with a terrible boss and a hostile workplace because of the lackeys. Almost 10 years later, they were terminated with possible legal cases pending, and she has the job she wanted, the one her boss tried to block her from by slandering her reputation. This next story was made in the True Off My Chest subreddit by a user named OKTough63. The post is titled, I fell even more in love with my wife after she became a mom. I'm deeply in love with my wife, and that love has grown in ways I didn't expect since she became a mother. The way she shows up every day, even when she's exhausted, the patience she has, and the instinctive love she gives our baby girl, it's unreal. I knew she'd be a good mom, but I didn't realize how deeply it would affect me. I've also found myself pretty much worshiping her body, not in a shallow or performative way, just genuine admiration. Her body carried our daughter, gave her life, and now nurtures and feeds her. It's been through so much, and knowing how strong it is brings me a strange sense of comfort. When I hold her, I'm reminded of everything she's endured and everything she's given, and it makes me feel safe in a way I didn't expect. Some nights I fall asleep cuddling her, sometimes with my head on her chest, sometimes lying partly on top of her with my head resting on her stomach. It just feels reassuring, like being close to something steady and powerful. Her body has done something incredible, and being close to her brings me peace. Life is busy, we're tired, and parenting is hard, so I don't always say this out loud, but I catch myself watching her with our daughter and feeling overwhelmed with gratitude. She's an incredible mother, an amazing partner, and I'm so proud she's my wife. I just needed to get that off my chest. Update. I figured I'd post an update since my original post had a lot of responses telling me to do so. A lot of you who responded to my original post said that I should tell my wife how I felt, and that's exactly what I did. A few days ago, I decided to let out all my feelings to her, so I sat her down in the living room and told her how I felt. As I was telling her all of this, I could see her face start to blush and a huge smile spread across it. I didn't even get to finish everything I wanted to say because she suddenly leaped toward me and wrapped me in a big hug. She also said that she finds me more attractive since I became a dad. She said she finds my dad bod cute. Ever since we had this conversation, something has changed between us. She's become more noticeably affectionate toward me. When I get home from work, she greets me by showering me with kisses, and it honestly makes my whole day every time. She's even hinted that she can't wait to get back into action after she's done healing. We're taking intimacy slowly, respecting healing and boundaries, and focusing on being a team. The attraction isn't about snapping back or bouncing back, it's about who she is right now. Honestly, I think this phase of life has made me fall in love with her all over again. Thanks to everyone who encouraged me to communicate instead of keeping it to myself. Hug your partners, people. This was a pretty good story. It's normal for relationships to go through rough patches and moments where you're kind of drifting independently, but at some point, someone needs to speak up, just like we saw here. You're a couple, so any problems one side is facing should be communicated clearly with the other. It's brutally simple.